So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at the alternative future of the world. In the last video we went over a lot of stuff, which include this, the access in the WTO's peace treaty, which kind of changed the world borders forever, and a lot of stuff happening over here in Europe as well as down here in Africa. This is now part 17 of the series, which means we are getting fairly close to the finale, which is going to be episode 20. Don't worry, there's going to be another season, most likely. I can't guarantee it right now, but I have a feeling that we are trending in the direction of having another one. So if you love the alternative future series, don't worry when episode 20 comes out, because shortly after there is probably like an 80% chance there's going to be another series. But yeah, a lot of stuff happened in that last video, and a lot of stuff's going to be happening in this video with another world-altering event taking place. This seems to be one of those every other video, and there's going to be another one here. But before we do get into this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We have around 1,000 to go at this point, which is super duper close. And once again, a reminder to you, at 99.5, that's 99,500 subscribers, I'm going to be starting a live stream. I don't care what time it is. I don't care like if I have school, if I have work. We're going to be live streaming at 99.5 thousand. And from there, we will go. I mean, we're just going to have fun. We're going to do a lot of stuff that's going to lead up to 100K. And when we start getting close, I'll switch the camera over to the live count. We'll watch it go up until eventually it hits 100K. And then we'll celebrate. So yeah, the channel is just like dead right now. So please subscribe. I'm tired of waiting. Wartime. That's right. We're jumping right into a war. And this war involves Germany, also Austria. Oh, the poor Austrians. They never get a break in this series, and they never will, because honestly, Austria is just kind of there, and Germany is technically the owner of Austria. I mean, yeah, the Alps are a thing, but I don't really care. And Germany's going to win over in Austria here. So let's go and take a look at this peace treaty, which is, well, yeah. So Germany's going to Anschluss Austria here, and now Europe, especially France and Poland, like I said in the last video, they're getting kind of worried. Like, Germany's doing the exact same thing they did in World War II, minus the Netherlands, of course, but they just Anschluss Austria. They might be going after Czechia later in the video, and yeah, from there, we all know what happens next. Poor Poland. Well, technically, some stuff happens down here, but most importantly, Poland. So what are they going to do to respond to this? Well, they're going to do something called joining an alliance. That alliance, of course, is going to be the Allies. So now with France and Poland safely in the Allies, Germany's going to be like, basically, they're just going to say, bruh, like, come on, you just foiled the plans here. But now we have a major world event taking place, and it involves our new friend, the New World Order. Now, this is a very large alliance, and it almost acts like a country in terms of military and economy. You have free will to walk across the border into China if you're in Russia, and vice versa. There are no border restrictions along the New World Order borders. Okay, but what am I getting at here? Basically, it acts like a one big country, and that's not good. Why is that not good? Because big countries never ever stay together. The Mongol Empire shattered like a freaking window. The British Empire, well, I mean, Britain kind of shot itself in the foot there, but they also did some terrible things. And what's the Romans? The Romans, well, the Romans, they yeah, they're the Romans, in case you didn't know, of course. Okay, so something's gonna happen here, and it's going to tear apart the New World Order. It's gonna be a civil war, of course. That's right. You thought you could escape the Civil War in this series, but no, it's back. And it's actually, that's a really big Civil War. Oh boy. Okay, so why is someone on someone's side and why is someone not on? Okay, I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay, why is there a civil war? Basically, okay, so Russia and China got into a fight about something. They're fighting over who is in charge of the alliance, and Russia's saying that it's Russia, China's saying that it's China. India's like, what? And wait, what about us? Because we're supposed to be special, and Brazil's like, what about us? So everyone's having a big old fallout, and you can kind of see here that the countries that were already kind of apart with Russia in the beginning of the Axis / New World Order have stuck with Russia. So that includes Iran, that includes Egypt, or whatever the Arab thing. I don't even know. Technically India, who was with Russia before the whole series, basically, and Venezuela. So there are two countries here, or three countries here, that aren't colored in, and that is going to be the Southeast Asian Union. That is also going to be the Central American Union, and finally, of course, Nigeria. So why haven't they joined in on the Civil War? Well, simple, because they don't want to get involved, so they just opt to leave the alliance, and they're going to start to take a more democratic path here, just to kind of, you know, do better. I mean, it makes sense why, I'm actually just going to call it Siam. So it makes sense why Siam, Nigeria, why they would want to do it. But for Central America, there might be some, well, money influence going into it. But hey, it's time for war. Let's do it. All right, for Pakistan, they might think that they're all that, but they really aren't. And Indian troops simply cross the border and start to, well, dominate. Same thing for the Iranians and the Russians into Afghanistan. This place used to be a fortress, and now it is a crater into the ground. Now, let's not forget that China here is the money of the alliance. They aren't necessarily the military of the alliance, but they do have the cha-ching. Over to Africa now, we have the War of Africa. Basically, Egypt versus South America. That's not South America, South Africa. Whoever's going to win this war is probably going to control Africa in the future. Let's see who does it. The North has a pretty big advantage at first. They sweep through this Congo area, which I'm sorry if you're from the Congo. Your country has just been obliterated in this series. And they do some pretty good stuff. That is until the South Africans get their stuff together and start to come up north, and they start to fight. Not so good if you're Egyptian or Sudanese or Libyan or Tunisian, Chad, anywhere from there. Okay, South America here. There's going to be something interesting happening here, and it's also going to involve a certain blue alliance here. They're going to start to fund some stuff going around the world, and we see some, well, civil wars within the civil war. Over in Turkey, we have the People's Revolt, which is not communist. It is just literally a democratic revolt taking place in the Istanbul area, and that eventually spreads over to Ankara and into southern Turkey. Now at this point, the major parts of Turkey are gone, and the Turkish government simply surrenders over to the rebellions, who are now fighting up against, well, everybody. Everybody doesn't really seem to take Turkey too seriously. I mean, there is a little bit of rebuttal here as the team pushes back the Turks, but eventually they're too focused on trying to kill each other, so yeah. South America, Venezuela, not doing so hot, and by that, I mean, they collapsed. They couldn't even, like, get an army together because they were so shooken up by the previous treaty and the previous war and all the horrible things that have happened with Venezuela in real life and in this series. So they just kind of caved in. The US is throwing some money down south here, and Brazil's starting to like it. So much so that Brazil is going to go rogue. Brazil says, screw it, you know what, we're doing our own thing, and they become the Yellow Alliance, and Uruguay is quick to join that because Uruguay is, well, they like Brazil, I'll just say that. Argentina doesn't really think this is that fair, but they also hate Brazil, so they're not going to join it, but they are going to fight, and fighting turns out not to be the best thing to do. Alright, back over to China. They have money, but they don't have military like I said earlier, and Manchuria is quick to fall over to the Russians. They sweep down and start to encounter Beijing, and that is until the Chinese start to produce, well, robots who, they're gonna start destroying the Russians, and, like, destroying them badly. These Chinese robots are, well, 10 times smarter than humans. They're self-aware, and, they don't tend to like their creators. So, I mean, like I said, this war is going to get kind of funky, but these guys decide that it's their time to shine, and they just start murdering. They start to develop their own weapons, and the world is not liking this. So, China is going to get nuked here. Now, I know I'm taking this series into, like, I'm like destroying it right now, but just hold on. It won't be, this isn't the ending of the series. It seems crazy right now. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it just seems crazy right now. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm not destroying anything. It's going to be fine. These robots here are going to soon be gone. That's because there's a giant nuke dropped over here. Nobody, well, I mean, everybody knows who did it. It was Russia, but I mean, they're not going to really be opposed to this because, I mean, it's robots. I'm just going to start calling them AI because robot seems kind of more fictional than, like, saying AI. But the AI is going to go over down towards Tibet and enter into the country, eventually taking the whole thing over, not India. Eventually, we see Tibet kind of yoink out of this war, except their government's a little bit more, well, oily. So now with China being nuked, they obviously don't exist. They were nuked where it hurts, which is the capital area, and of course that radiation most likely seeped down the Chinese coast. So the Russians sweep in, even though they're probably dying by doing this, going into the radiated areas. China surrenders, and from here, well, basically the red team has won the civil war. But there are still a lot of things going on. One such thing is South Africa pushing back the red team in Africa, and even entering into the, well, North African country. People start to wonder where they're getting all this strength from, and the US and allies are just kind of winking at Russia here, saying that, you know what, you did bad things to us, but you weren't very smart about it. If you remember in the last video, or the video before last, I specifically said that the Axis focused on getting land. They didn't focus on taking away money. They didn't focus on breaking up, well, I mean, they did break up the alliance, but they didn't focus on, like, preventing them from rebuilding and, well, spending their money. And spending their money is exactly what they're doing right now. They have funded stuff in both Brazil and South Africa. Of course, they're still hostile with each other, but they have a mutual agreement saying that, you know what, this whole New World Order thing, none of us like it. It's not going to work. There's too many different ideals. So how about you work for us, and in return, we will negotiate with you later on after you've gone ahead and rebelled against the New World Order. That's right. The WDO has struck back, except it's not the WDO, it's the Allies. More specifically, the US, the UK, and Spain. Down in Argentina, we have the capturing of their capital and eventually the surrender of Argentina. We have the Turkish rebels declaring their independence, which is, well, at this point, Russia doesn't really care because it's just Turkey. They're going to go ahead and try to campaign into Arabia and over towards Egypt. But this again is going to be stopped as these countries are going to go ahead and surrender. As for South Africa, they meet with Russia and say, hey, you know what? How about we negotiate? Russia's like, okay, let's do it. So since South Africa is the only blue team member left, they're going to negotiate with the red team. And let's go and take a look at this pretty massive peace treaty here. All right, let's go ahead and break down this one continent at a time. So over here in South America, we actually didn't have too much change going on here because the WDO had a lot of influence on this part of the peace treaty. More specifically, they basically guaranteed that Venezuela would be its own independent free country that may or may not have a pro-US government. But hey, they also forced the release of Chile from Argentina, and they made a deal with Brazil. Remember how I said they were going to have to negotiate? So basically, I have a normal world map here, and Paraguay, which was kind of like split between Argentina and Brazil, was given fully to Brazil. So any Argentina claims over Paraguay was given to Brazil. And Brazil pretty much dominates this continent now. But now over to Africa, where we have a similar situation with domination. And that's going to be South Africa here, who took over a large part of this part of Africa, which is like Kenya / South Sudan, this area here. They beat back the North African Republic, which is its new name because I keep forgetting what I called it. I think I called it like Islamic Empire or something. I don't remember. I don't care either. But they are dominant, and part of their treaty with the WDO was basically just like saying, hey, if you don't join back with Russia, we'll be cool and we could trade and stuff. And they were like, you know what, that's cool. We like your goods, you like our goods, let's do it. Now on to where it's kind of scary. We have Russia, India, and Iran like all getting a crap ton of land. India gets Pakistan, ironically enough. We have Russia, they get land from Afghanistan, and they get land from China, and, well, a lot of China. That includes Manchuria and Xinjiang. China is crippled, of course. Tibet is left alone since it's the robotic government. No one wants to piss off the robots. Turkey got its freedom, surprisingly enough. Iran took a big old bite out of this country, and Arabia has been reduced back. So looking at this new World Order alliance map, they've lost a lot. And a lot. I mean, if you look at it before and after, you're going to notice that they lost Brazil, they lost South Africa, and they lost China. 3 of their biggest factors. This is going to weaken the New World Order, and it's going to kind of make some countries like Argentina want to leave. Now the New World Order is basically just the new Asian order with Egypt as well, and they're just going to span across Asia for now. They have complete dominance of this continent. No one's going to be able to overtop them. China is, well, they're trying to figure out what to do with their life right now. Turkey ends up joining the Allies, as well as Venezuela. And yes, this is a new alliance map, so I do have to kind of fill in every country. But we're not worried about that right now, because that's actually going to take us to the end of this video. Yeah, I know, anticlimactic ending here, but I don't have enough time to fully record this video, so I do apologize for that. However, I hope you did really still enjoy it, because I enjoyed making this one, because I just kind of did whatever I want with it. That's the fun part about mapping, but sometimes you guys don't like when I do it, so it's kind of a risk factor for me as well, trying to grow the channel, which growing the channel recently has not been easy, and yeah, I'm not really sure why. I feel like mapping is definitely dying for the channel, and despite me making that futuristic video, or not the futuristic video, but me making the future video and saying that I might be moving on, you guys were like, oh no, please don't do it. And now it's just kind of like, well, why? I mean, I've already said why that I might be moving on from mapping, because there's no more ideas. I can go back in the past to do World War II stuff, and how long is that gonna last? That's only gonna last like what, 6 months until I run out of content again? I mean, like, there's not much you can do with it. I don't think a lot of you get it. I'm not saying that you're stupid, because you guys are very smart. You know more than I do about this kind of stuff. But in terms of content creation, it's very hard to like do this. I don't know what. Yeah, I've been doing it for 2 years. 2 years worth of content. Pretty much 2 videos a week for 2 years is a lot of videos. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to figure out something else to do. Maybe mapping games, like reacting to mapping memes and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, you can look at the channel performance, like not necessarily the entire channel performance, but if you look at its growth, if you look at like the view counts of the videos from the past 3 months compared to the 3 months prior, you're gonna see a big difference. And it just kind of goes to show that mapping is indeed dying for this channel. And when mapping died, or when Minecraft died for me when I was doing it, I jumped ships pretty quickly, and that might be what's happening here. So I don't know yet, but once again, once we get to 100K, I'll go into even more detail. Speaking of 100K, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on this video and comment, but don't comment about me. Don't give me ideas about mapping, because honestly, it's just, yeah, at this point, just give me ideas about what other stuff I could do instead of mapping, because yeah, I don't know how much longer I could do this without like recycling videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be, well, it could be a live stream, or it could be something involving the whole world. I don't know. Actually, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, thank you for watching if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Goodbye. Leave. Click off the video. Actually, don't click off the video. Click one of the few videos you're going to see over here in a second.